My golden child sister who terrorized me my whole life, slept with my soon-to-be husband just weeks before the wedding, so I cut them both out of my life for good. My name is Emily, and for as long as I can remember, my sister, Lucy, has overshadowed every aspect of my life. From the moment my parents adopted her, Lucy became the golden child, their prized possession. Her charm, effortless charisma, and magnetic personality made everyone gravitate towards her. Everyone except me. Growing up, Lucy effortlessly became the center of attention. Teachers adored her, friends flocked to her, and my parents never failed to remind me how fortunate we were to have such a wonderful addition to our family. It wasn't jealousy, at least not at first. But soon enough, Lucy realized she could get away with anything, and that included sabotaging my life. In high school, when I had a crush on Jason, the star soccer player, Lucy quickly swooped in, batting her eyelashes and flashing that innocent smile of hers. Within days, Jason was walking her home instead of me. When I confronted her, she merely laughed, saying it was my fault for not making a move fast enough. Rumors were Lucy's specialty. She spread whispers that I cheated on exams, was secretly insecure, and even accused me of stealing from classmates, despite no truth to any of it. The more she damaged my reputation, the brighter her own star shone. Yet, no matter what I said, my parents never believed me. Lucy wouldn't do that, they'd dismiss, always siding with their perfect child. It wasn't until I met Ryan that I thought I'd found happiness beyond Lucy's reach. He was genuine, caring, and saw me for who I was. 3 years of dating turned into a proposal, and finally, I felt my moment had arrived. This wedding was my chance to finally break free from Lucy's shadow. Or so I thought. The closer we got to the wedding, the more Lucy changed. She smiled less, commented negatively about every detail, and subtly tried undermining my confidence. "Are you sure about Ryan?" she asked casually one day. "I mean, he's nice, but is he really marriage material?" I ignored her, brushing it off as typical lucid jealousy. But deep down, a nagging feeling started to form. In the weeks before the wedding, Ryan became more distant. He was frequently distracted, his phone constantly buzzing late at night, followed by nervous glances whenever I entered the room. But each time I questioned him, he'd reassure me, convincing me it was just work. I believed him, until the night I wished I hadn't. A week before our wedding, Ryan left his phone on the kitchen counter while showering. As I prepared dinner, it vibrated repeatedly, the screen lighting up with messages from Lucy. Curious and with a sinking feeling in my stomach, I glanced at the screen. My heart stopped. "Lucy, last night was incredible. When can we meet again? I miss your touch." My stomach churned. Frantically scrolling, I saw more explicit messages, revealing secret meetings, intimate exchanges, and discussions about how they'd hide their affair from me. I stood frozen, my breathing shallow, eyes burning with tears I refused to shed. Betrayed by the two people closest to me, my fiancé and my sister. Ryan entered the kitchen, freezing when he saw the phone in my hands. "Emily." "Don't," I said sharply, voice trembling. "How could you?" He lowered his gaze. "I'm sorry. It just happened." "With Lucy? Of all people, my own sister." "I'm sorry," he repeated weakly, offering no excuses. I dropped the phone, stepping away. "Get out." He stared at me, hesitating briefly, then silently grabbed his keys and left without another word. The pain quickly turned to rage. Lucy had taken enough from me, and now, it was time everyone saw her for who she truly was. Our family was gathering that evening for a pre-wedding dinner. Lucy arrived first, smug and smiling. But her expression shifted when she saw my cold, hardened stare. "Emily, are you okay?" she asked innocently, feigning concern. "Better than I've been in years," I replied coolly. My parents and extended family filled the room, happily oblivious. I rose from my seat, holding up Ryan's phone. "I have something you all need to hear." The room quieted instantly. I read aloud the texts, every painful word echoing through the room. Lucy's face turned white, her confidence crumbling as the family turned to her in horror. "Is this true, Lucy?" our mother whispered. Lucy tried to deny it, scrambling for excuses, but no one believed her now. Her charm finally failed her. As the family erupted in anger and disbelief, I felt vindicated for the first time in my life. Days after calling off the wedding, I couldn't leave my apartment. I was emotionally drained, barely able to face the shattered dreams lying at my feet. Yet, in the solitude, I began to see clarity. Ryan begged for forgiveness, swearing it meant nothing. I refused every call, every text. I couldn't forgive betrayal that deep. As for Lucy, our parents finally saw through her facade. They were mortified that she'd manipulated everyone for so long. She tried playing the victim, accusing me of ruining her life, but her excuses no longer worked. After Emily publicly exposed Lucy's betrayal, Lucy's carefully constructed life fell apart rapidly. The family that once adored and defended her now saw her for who she truly was, a manipulative, jealous sibling who sabotaged her own sister's happiness. Initially, Lucy believed she could charm her way back into everyone's good graces. She tried to contact mutual friends, pretending to be the victim, but none believed her anymore. Friendships she'd maintained for years suddenly turned cold. Her reputation in the community plummeted, leaving her increasingly isolated. Lucy's workplace became aware of her behavior after news of her betrayal spread through their social circle. Her previously supportive colleagues started distancing themselves, wary of associating with someone who so willingly betrayed her own sister. Promotions she had eagerly anticipated vanished, given instead to people she'd once looked down upon. Soon after, Lucy was quietly asked to resign, forced out to protect the company's reputation. Without employment or friends, Lucy spiraled emotionally, forced to confront the reality of her actions. With every attempt to regain her former life failing miserably, she finally understood the consequences of her lifelong cruelty toward Emily. Months passed, and I slowly rebuilt my life. I moved to a new apartment, started therapy, and surrounded myself with true friends, people who saw and valued me for who I was. It wasn't easy, but for the first time, my life was truly my own. Then, unexpectedly, I met Jake. He was gentle, kind, and patient, slowly winning my trust with each genuine gesture. Unlike Ryan, he didn't promise perfection, just honesty. Gradually, I learned what real love and trust felt like. With him, I realized my worth wasn't defined by others' opinions, especially not Lucy's. 2 years later, as I walked hand in hand with Jake along the shore, I thought about everything that had led me here. Lucy's jealousy and betrayal no longer hurt as deeply, they were part of a past that no longer defined me. Though my relationship with my parents remained distant, I found peace in accepting that some relationships weren't meant to be fixed. Lucy tried reaching out once, sending a heartfelt letter filled with apologies and regret. But I couldn't bring myself to reply. Forgiveness was one thing, but allowing her back into my life was another. I'd finally learned to choose myself, to put my happiness first. And for the first time, my life was truly mine. On to the next story. My horrible sister got me kicked out of my parents' house, and cut out of the will, because of some rumors that she spread about me. So I sued her to take back what's rightfully mine. For as long as I can remember, my life has revolved around one painful truth: I was never enough. My sister, Hannah, was 4 years older, and as far as my parents were concerned, she was the golden child, the smarter, prettier, and infinitely more charming daughter. Their favoritism was clear from my earliest memories, and it shaped every part of my childhood. They celebrated Hannah's smallest achievements, good grades, minor awards, even simple compliments from teachers, while my accomplishments went unnoticed. Eventually, I stopped trying to win their approval altogether. Why compete in a game rigged from the start? Hannah thrived in this dynamic, always playing up her innocence and sweetness. But behind closed doors, she was anything but sweet. She found endless joy tormenting me, whispering cruel insults when no one was listening, hiding my belongings, and blaming her misbehavior on me. And every time, our parents believed her without question. By the time we were teenagers, I learned to fend for myself. Hannah monopolized their attention, so I kept my head down, studied hard, worked part-time jobs, and planned my escape. I dreamed of the day I'd finally be free from their judgment and Hannah's shadow. But nothing prepared me for the cruelty Hannah would inflict next. When I was 18, just weeks from graduating high school, Hannah did something unforgivable. It was subtle at first: whispered conversations between Hannah and our parents, strange looks directed my way, and quiet suspicion filling the house. Then, one evening, everything exploded. "Claire, we need to talk," my father said gravely, his voice thick with disappointment. My mother refused to meet my eyes. Hannah sat silently on the couch, fake concern written all over her face. "What's going on?" I asked, panic rising. My father exhaled slowly. "Hannah told us about your problem." I frowned, confused. "What problem?" Hannah interrupted, eyes wide, voice trembling. "Claire, I had to tell them. You need help." "Help with what?" "Your drug addiction," Hannah said softly, shaking her head sadly. My stomach lurched. "What are you talking about?" "I don't use drugs." Hannah looked at our parents, eyes pleading. "See? She's still in denial." My mother finally spoke, disappointment dripping from her words. "We can't support this behavior, Claire. You're hurting yourself and our family." I stared at them, horrified. "You're going to believe her over me." My father stood, voice stern. "Either admit it and get help or leave this house." I was too stunned to speak. They had never believed me before, and they certainly weren't going to start now. Within days, I packed everything I owned into a single bag and left, my parents not even bothering to say goodbye. Hannah watched me leave from the window, the smallest smirk on her face.
Life on my own was brutal.
I finished school while couch surfing at friends' houses and working 2 part-time jobs to survive. Every day, I carried the humiliation of Hannah's lie. Slowly, painfully, I found my footing. College wasn't an option, so I started from the bottom in retail, working my way up through sheer determination. I managed to build a modest life for myself, but the scars from my family's betrayal never healed completely.
Years passed without contact.
I'd hear snippets about Hannah's life from mutual acquaintances, how she was successful, happily married, and still the apple of our parents' eyes. Then came the devastating news: both my parents had died unexpectedly in a car accident. But what hurt even more was discovering they'd cut me from their will years ago, leaving everything, their house, savings, and possessions, to Hannah. I knew then that enough was enough. I had allowed her to destroy my life for too long. It was time for revenge. I devised a plan carefully, refusing to let anger cloud my judgment. Hannah had stolen my childhood, my reputation, and now my rightful inheritance. I would get proof of her deception, proof nobody could ignore. I waited patiently, planning every detail. I saved every penny, hired the best lawyer I could afford, and prepared myself for the confrontation that would change everything. When the day arrived, my heart pounded, but I was ready. I drove to the family home, now solely Hannah's, and walked up the steps, my phone hidden but recording. I knocked firmly, the door opening to reveal Hannah's surprised face. Her eyes narrowed slightly, quickly masked by a forced smile. "Claire," she said with exaggerated surprise. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk," I said calmly, pushing past her into the hallway. She closed the door, arms crossed. "What could we possibly have to discuss?" "Everything you stole from me," I answered coldly, watching her carefully.
Hannah laughed dismissively. "I didn't steal anything from you."
"You lost your place in this family yourself."
"Did I?"
I pressed. "Or did you make up a drug addiction to ruin my life?" Her eyes flickered, panic briefly surfacing. She recovered quickly, but I'd already seen the truth. "You can't prove anything," she snapped. "I don't need proof," I lied, baiting her carefully. "Everyone knows who you really are." Hannah stepped closer, anger and arrogance clouding her judgment. "Fine, you want the truth?" "Yes," I lied. "You made it too easy. You never mattered to them. Why shouldn't I have everything?" My heart raced. I'd finally gotten what I needed. With the evidence in hand, I immediately contacted my lawyer. The wheels of justice turned slowly but steadily, and soon Hannah was facing a defamation lawsuit that shocked our community. In court, Hannah played the victim expertly, sobbing through testimonies and accusing me of jealousy. But my lawyer was relentless, presenting the recorded confession. Hannah's fake tears dried instantly, replaced with desperation. In the end, justice prevailed. The judge ruled in my favor, declaring Hannah's lies as clear defamation. The family inheritance was redivided fairly, finally giving me my rightful share. Hannah watched in disbelief as everything she'd gained through deceit slipped away. Her perfect life crumbled around her, and for once, she felt the pain of betrayal and loss. I didn't feel pleasure in her downfall, just relief and satisfaction. I had reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my future. After the lawsuit, I sold my share of the house, choosing to leave the past behind permanently. I moved across the country, settling in a small coastal town filled with kind people and new opportunities. With my inheritance, I finally pursued my dream, opening my own cafe. For the first time, I built a life on my own terms, surrounded by genuine friendships and a community that knew me for who I truly was. Occasionally, news of Hannah reached me. Her downfall had left her isolated, struggling, and alone. I felt no joy from her pain, but neither did I feel guilt. Her actions had brought her here, just as mine had freed me. At last, I was no longer the forgotten child, overshadowed by someone else's lies. I was Claire, stronger, wiser, and finally free. What did you think of these stories? Let me know your thoughts about them in the comments, and thanks for listening.